I think it was like a week ago that the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay got leaked. And I watched it. I watched it all. I found it on the internet. I found it weirdly enough on YouTube. Apparently Ubisoft isn't necessarily that dedicated on striking and removing the gameplay from YouTube, because I found it very, very easily, I might add. And I watched it, and I really, really hope that that is not the gameplay that they are planning on showing off in a couple of weeks at whatever expo or demonstration that they're planning on having mid or late July. I really, really, really hope that that is not the gameplay, because it was bad. It was really, really bad. The showcase that they had, it was like 30 minutes. I watched it all, and like a couple of minutes in, I didn't want to watch anymore because I knew it was going to be very, very bad. First and foremost, let me address something really, really quickly. A lot of people have been comparing it to The Witcher 3. A lot of people have been saying, oh my god, it's exactly like The Witcher 3. It looks exactly like it. It's the Ubisoft's version of The Witcher 3. And yes, they're right. It is The Witcher 3. If The Witcher 3 was horribly optimized, if its mechanics were very, very shallow, and if parts of the gameplay didn't make any sense whatsoever. To be honest with you, it's not like The Witcher 3. It's more comparable to Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War. Whichever one has you have a whole bunch of orc armies in the game. That's it. That's the game that I would compare it to. Except that game, Shadow of War, would actually be significantly better to whatever Ubisoft is putting out this year. The first thing that I noticed with that game was the simplicity of the fact that they tried to combine a whole bunch of different mechanics. They tried to combine a whole bunch of different philosophies and elements from different video games. Yes, some of those mechanics and philosophies being from The Witcher 3, but some of them also being from Shadow of War and other Ubisoft games, including Assassin's Creed and Fallout. Like, it's a hodgepodge of different mechanics that aren't really executed that well upon. They all are lacking in development. The game is lacking in development. And the thing is, I was really, really happy for this game when it first was announced, because I was like, oh, okay, you know, maybe they can do some interesting things with the Viking concept and conquering, and it's literally like a worse version of the Shadow of War experience. It's like, it is literally exactly that. And then they like showed off some of the parkour in the game, and I was like, I completely forgot that parkour was in the game, because it just seemed so out of place. Like, does Geralt parkour? No. Obviously, the character in Shadow of War does, but it's like, it was so weird to have a semi-grounded and realistic world and then see your character just climbing up a wall like they're frickin' Spider-Man. And it's just, I think Ubisoft has come to this head, or has come to this point with specifically the Assassin's Creed game, where they have gone so far off the rails when it comes with this game. They have gone so far away from what the original game series was all about, and they've entered into this very, very weird area where anything goes and nothing is forbidden and nothing is and everything is permitted. It's just this obnoxious lens. And I mean, I can talk about the gameplay mechanics not being up to snuff. Like, when I look at the Witcher 3 gameplay mechanics, where, you know, you can take on groups upon groups of enemies with very, very little difficulty if you're actually good at the game. And I look at this game and I was like, oh, it's an RPG, but the animations aren't very good. The flow of combat isn't very good. Even the weapon choice and weapon selection is very, very bland. Like, your character for the majority of the demo wields 2 axes, and that's about it. Pretty much like they wielded in the trailer for the game. That's it. They sometimes pull out a sword. They sometimes use enemy swords. They sometimes bash people with shields and things of that nature. I don't know if you can have a shield, but they had 2-handed axes for the majority of the demo. But I completely forgot that you could even have and use a hidden blade. Like, that's how forgettable being an assassin was. And it seemed not necessarily like you're an assassin, but like you're a Viking, which, if that's the theme that they were going for, they did a mediocre job at it, because even then it's like, I didn't really get the vibe that you were a Viking. Like, if you took out the whole Viking philosophy and the ships and the lore and things of that nature from the game, I wouldn't have told you where this person was from, where this person was going, where they're even fighting at. Like, the game is just incredibly forgettable. And to be honest with you, if you're one of the new Assassin's Creed fans, if you like Odyssey, if you like the game Origins, you'll probably like this game. I remember I was watching the gameplay and I was like, wow, this looks really, really bad. I'm gonna have this really, really long and passionate and angry rant. I'm gonna get angry and stuff like that. And then as I continue to watch the gameplay demo, the more I realize that I'm just apathetic towards this game. I'm not really that passionate about talking about my disappointment with this game. I'm just gonna go off and ignore this game once again, once again, as I always do for the past like 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 years. I'll just ignore the Assassin's Creed game that comes out, play all of the better games that are going to come out in the later half of this year, including in about a week, Ghost of Tsushima, and then in November, Cyberpunk 2077, and then I'll just go on to 2021 and be satisfied with, the PS5 or the Xbox Series X and whatever they do with those two consoles. I'm sick and tired of the Assassin's Creed series being so mediocre, especially when it should be great. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. Until my next video, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.